City from City to Blogs, and welcome to my YouTube channel BA Artifact series. And today we are going to look into all the consolidated list of all the artifacts. And before we deep dive into the topic, I would like to request you all to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And let's get started.
Artifacts table that I have made. So, coming to the use case diagrams, it focused mainly on scope and actors, like who does what and what are the scope until when the scope can gets ended. So that is use case diagram, and process flow diagram is the process business process steps, what happened in each steps. And functional flow diagrams is relating to the business, the system behavior, how the system works from start to the finish. And the swimlane diagrams shows us the ownership, who owns what, which team owns which API, that kind of stuff. And sequence diagram helps us to understand the interaction between uh, how the systems talk to each other, how they are interacted. And the derived sequence diagrams, they are derived from the functional flow diagrams. It's a in-depth refinement on understanding how the system works in detail, which API is going to call which API, which function method is going to invoke which function method is going to become an input for another function method, like such kind of things. And dependency mapping is like the system relationship, what depends on what. So I have made a detailed blogs for each and every of these artifacts. Please check that out if you missed it. They are very important from the interview point of view, to understand and to be confident in talking an interview. And then data mapping is which field data, where does it move and where does it go, how it is fed to some other field data in another API calls. So typically, this is how we create use case diagrams. So how they are connected is, first we create use case diagrams, process flow diagrams, functional flow diagrams, and derive sequence diagrams, swimlane diagrams, and dependency mapping and data mapping are the last level. Okay. So if you take one simple example, say for example, a customer raise a dispute. So use case would be the customer raises a dispute, would be customer is a actor here, and what is the action he's doing? He's just raising a dispute, and the scope ends there as a customer does that action. Rest of the process is handled by some other APIs, some other function calls. So, and then the process flow explains you the whole the system functionality, from the login to selection of the transactions, the dispute, select, submit a dispute, and validate. So this is a process from the business point of view. It doesn't have the technicalities of how it is done, but just the high level behavior of how the flow works. And this is the functional flow. From the UI side, this is the post call for the dispute. And in another area, the APIs are validated. And in another DB, database services, backend services, how this behavior or the transaction is saved. Okay, and then the sequence diagrams will give us more detailed understanding of low level API level. The UI is communicated with APIs, and then it is interacted with database and invokes a notification services. So it is very detailed at a at a low level understanding, like how detailed it could be. And swimlane diagrams is like which team is handling which API, and which team is interacting with another team. So, what is the flow between these teams are the swim lane diagrams. And then the dependency mapping is UI depends on API, and API depends on DB, and DB depends upon notification. So, like, what are the dependent systems, how they talk and how they interact, and at a very granular level, data mapping. Here is the field transaction ID that is fed from the UI to the DB. Into the DB field. The DB field could be transaction underscore ID. Transaction underscore ID. That is how the mapping would fed. So whatever the data in this field has to go into this field, and this is all defined using data mapping. It's the same way in the email notifications. So yeah, this is pretty much it about the artifact series that I would like to share with you. um, and in our next video we'll come up with more blogs, some more interesting topics about business analyst, and how can we answer some of the questions in the interviews, and to build up our confidence. So I hope you enjoy my video. Please like, share and subscribe, and take care. Thank you.